Hey, this is Dale. I'm a librarian at the University of Utah, and I'm here to show you some strategies for searching between the open web and archives or even dustier, older databases. So the three things I'm going to show you today, hopefully in this brief video, are open web searching versus database and archive searching, and how those are different, and I'll give you some strategies. A big one is finding keywords, and I'll explain the gravity of that. But I'm going to give you some strategies related to searching on the open web in a smarter way, or even using Google Gemini or ChatGPT or any other AI for suggesting keywords. Then you can go in with a more educated search, and you don't have to be so generic, but you can be very specific. And then lastly, well, I'm going to show you some archives and some test searches, and then I'll go into the library catalog, which is similar to WorldCat. So this would work in WorldCat and the HathiTrust as well. Okay, so out on the open web, if you go to Facebook, you often see, or Instagram or things like that, you often see ads for things that you've searched for before. So I was looking for glasses once, and then all of a sudden on Instagram, it's just like, hey, do you want to try on our Ray-Ban glasses? And I was just like, how did that happen? It looks at your history and your cookies. All of the, if you ever go to a European website, it'll say, hey, can we share your cookies or push information to you? That's what that's about. Those are things that reside in your browser, and it shows your preferences for what you've been looking for, your IP address and your location and things like that. Did you know, have you ever heard of an IP address? You can look yours up at ipchicken.com. This will tell people where you're physically located. So if you go, so I have a colleague that went to Korea, and they're really craving a burger, and I guess they don't have a lot of burgers in Korea. And so they were like looking for Burger King, and the IP address gave them a Burger King ad, but it was in Korean. So this is, the IP address is why it does that. It's not because it's guessing or anything. It's just statistically built in, and it's kind of hoping to give you the answers you're looking for. But when you're looking in these archives, this doesn't necessarily know. So if you, here you can see all my searches that I've done before. But if you just search up something and you get no results, it's kind of like, well, what happened? So we'll talk about that as we go. Okay, first tip, out on Google, if you search for hippies, oh, the AI is starting to come in here. So it's a mainstream culture. They rejected established institutions. Here's a photo that looks like an AI. Now I'm like, everything looks like an AI these days. What makes a person a hippie? How old are hippies now? All of these things are coming from Google Trends in a particular region that I'm searching in. Maybe it's the West, maybe it's Utah specifically. And then it's kind of like trying to guess what I'm interested in before I even get to what I was interested in. Is like, well, what's a hippie? So, oh, and it came out of beatniks. So there's a keyword right there. So I could go back in and I could do another search for beatniks. And then you can start to build your vocabulary of what you're interested in. But this isn't necessarily the best way to go. Out in the open web, since all of these things are making guesses for us, we can give it a context. So I'm going to say graphic design, and I'm going to misspell it. Graphic design and hippies. So what this means is graphic design is the context that I'm searching in, and I'm asking Google, I don't want just generic stuff about hippies or how old hippies are. I want to know how their influences or things that were written about or inspiration from, all those different things from graphic design, just off of this one keyword, hippies. Then everything changes and it's a lot more focused. What I would recommend is getting through the commercial stuff, like Etsy and Pinterest and Shutterstock. Here we go. Psychedelic style in graphic design. What I'd recommend is go and do research and figure out very simply ideas and names. So here's ones like flower power, which I'm going to add to my list. Ooh, psychedelic, psychedelic music. They might have been inspired by Buddhism. Love this style of design, by the way, but So we have songs. Oh, we have the names of artists. Jim Morrison. These are the key words that matter because when you go into the archives and type in Jim Morrison, so let's go. You have to put it in quotes too sometimes. Did I spell his name right? Spelling counts. Yep, I did. This is where you would go in. Hey, here we go. There's something on Jim Morrison, rock poet. Or there's a Fuller Theological Seminary oral history project. What? Okay, so this is where it's not a smart search. It's only looking at the characters or the words that you put in. So if I misspell Jim Morrison, oh, by the way, I stuck it in quotes so those two words will stick together. If I misspell Jim Morrison, and I call him, sorry, if I call him James Morrison, I don't know if the character, then all of a sudden we're going to get USC alumni and irrelevant things. So spelling counts. Out on the open web, spelling doesn't count. They're kind of winging it for you. But you're not in control of it because it's the algorithm. You don't know what is influencing it. So I don't want to even go into that, but you get the idea. Okay, the next thing. So that's a contextual search. Oh, Beat Generation, there's another one. So you get these key moments of like symbolic people or movements or things or designers or all sorts of different things like that. Okay, Google Gemini is like ChatGPT. Let's go into, so I don't know anything about Australia and the 1960s counterculture or whatever movements that you're interested in. I know the Danish are famous for furniture design, but is Australia? Let's ask. Actually, I have a different search. I want, in this one, I don't want to type in graphic design in Australia because I might get stuff that's irrelevant. I want a famous designer from Australia, 1960s. You could do this out on the open web too, but Gemini will kind of look for the greatest hits and boil them down for you. Hello, Prue. This is somebody from the Great British Bake Off. I wonder if it's the same person. Youth-focused designs, Norma, let's look up Prue. Fashion designers. Instrumental, youth-focused designs. Again, we have to put it in quotes. Otherwise, the Prue and Acton won't stick together. Hello. There's like advertising. There's a magazine article. This is actually pretty good. I found somebody in my other search that was more of like a hippie psychedelia. Cool. A Christmas card. You are now laid off. Oh no, Prue Acton left for Canada in 1979. Prue! Okay, so you get the idea on that one. Let's try another one. So if we're searching in California, I want to know famous designer. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry. California graphic design. 1960s. Who's the best? Who's the most notable graphic designer of the 1960s? Hello, Rick Griffin. Oh yeah, surf culture. So armed with this info, we don't get to discover everything, but we do it in stages. So think of this one as like we're finding the ingredients and then we're looking for it in here. So if we went to the Australia archive, we wouldn't find anything there. But Rick Griffin, handbills and posters. Whoa, they have a whole collection of handbills and posters. Oh, rats, it's offline. Oh, that's pretty cool. Psychedelic posters, Grateful Dead records artwork. Isn't this cool? None of this is a smart search, though. We are just looking up major talking points. Almost like if you're having a conversation at a bar. You're like, have you ever heard of Rick Griffin? Oh, yeah, their surf stuff was amazing. What you can also do is gather these keywords and go into WorldCat, HathiTrust. But let me show you a demo in the library catalog, which is similar to WorldCat, except it doesn't have as much stuff. So here, the keywords matter. So I'm going to do hippies. So what this is doing, out of the millions of things in our catalog, it's only going to look up things that have the word hippies. So all of a sudden, if I misspell, hippies, I went from 13,000 to 401. Spelling counts. But having said that, alternates matter too. So I can do hippies or counterculture or, and I could think of all of these synonyms or related terms or things that I was looking for. And I actually have a canned search. Summer of Love, Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Timothy Leary, Woodstock. And instead of just looking up hippies, since it's not a smart search, it's not going to give me those synonyms, I add the synonyms for what I'm interested in. And I go from 13,000 to 253,000. If I did this in that Google contextual search, this would be kind of like the context. The next line might be graphic design. So after this and, it's the same thing as that context. It's like find everything with this, and then and look for things with graphic design. Ooh, only 83. That's pretty weak. So I'm going to add all my synonyms in this. We'll cover this in my class where I visit. But now I'm adding page layout, interior design, style, fashion design, graphic design, advertising, commercial art, marketing. Yeah, 33,000. Reprobates, oh please. So this, again, has nothing to do with what you've looked at before, or your cookies, or your history, or your location. But this is where, in scholarly research, you matter the most. So what you would do is you would go, oh, this is exactly what I was looking for. I wanted to know what was going on with the Beatles, or Aubrey Beardsley. Oh yeah, I actually do want to see that one. If you see something, save it. Here's a citation generator if you need the citation. But you can just see the article itself, and you can see what people are talking about. If you ever have publicly accessible database, oh hello, psychedelic design, Aubrey Beardsley, and then the cycle continues. Aubrey Beardsley impact. And then you can see, okay, this person came from Art Nouveau, but then all of a sudden you can see all these other artists, and on and on and on and on. So Google wants you to close really quickly, and scholarly research wants you to keep the conversation going and open and keep on going, if that makes any sense. Whew, okay. Dig around, keep notes. I use OneNote for my note-taking software, but even if you're just using a notepad, write down things that you were looking for, and then try those in the databases. Okay, reach out to me if you need anything. I am delighted to help.